Hello and welcome back to Leeds United as we get into the Champions League knockouts proper. It's Real Madrid again. We've got them again. Why? We come effectively joint first. I'm not even certain what the deciding factor was. I'm gonna guess goals for, because alphabetically Leeds becomes before Manchester. Yes. So our reward for getting top 8 and bypassing around is then Real Madrid. Again. Important details, Atletico Madrid and Barcelona both missed it. And thankfully, it was a good point separation as well, opposed to just someone being slightly mugged off. Copenhagen, congratulations, you did actually get all the way through. Nice slipped out of the top 8, and then were knocked out by Newcastle. Already, I think. Yeah, 2 matches already sorted. PSG past Leipzig, Newcastle past Nice. Meanwhile, there is a matchup between Napoli and Villarreal. No real surprises in the previous round, though, I would probably say. Napoli over Chelsea, with the current state of things, probably fine. So we are doing both. It is away first, which is part of my reasoning for this, because the away fixture is obviously typically a little bit more difficult. League-wise, I dare say things have picked up a little. It's almost like losing to West Ham angered us, because there was a 5-0 against Leicester, a 6-0 against Crystal Palace, a 7-0 against Brentford, 4-1 Stoke, 3-1 Brighton, and then recently 3-1, 2-0, 3-0. Also a 9-2 over Kidderminster Harriers, which I kind of feel sorry about. Sorry, any Kidderminster fans for that one. You scored a penalty and then an actual goal, as Mamadashvili continues to just let in every single shot that's ever gone against him. Yeah, I even used youth players in that one. It was still 7-1 at half-time, or 6-1. Speaking of, Matt Cox has actually played 4 games now for us. He is a League 2 level player, according to the attributes and the report, but his average rating is 7.55. Partially because he was in that game, but across his 4 Premier League appearances, he's still averaged 7.45. All substitute appearances, 7.45 from 4 substitute appearances. I don't get it. Should say, of course, January transfer window, nobody bought, people sold. Levi Colwill went for 50 million plus 20% future profit. He was the victim of the 2 at the back system. He might have been homegrown nation, but he wasn't a homegrown club, which is what both Strauch and Cresswell are, and therefore they are my first choice backups. And then, really, Colwill was behind those 2. And considering Evan Undika is rarely injured and really rarely suspended, Milenkovic is the one that typically gets suspended, typically picks up the other cards, but that's where Cresswell pops in. Colwill being left-footed makes that a little bit more difficult. He has played a couple of times on the left-back position because when we've not had enough. Yeah, you can see 20 appearances first year, basically 20 appearances second year, and then we switched to 2 at the back and 6 and 4. And we have enough homegrown nation players now that we could sort of afford to let him go. 20 million profit, technically, we'll take it. Also sold Georgie for 12.5 million. He had demanded that he was going to be checking his options at the end of his contract, 18 months in advance. So I sold him 18 months in advance. For 12.5 million, the fools. Palmeiras in Brazil, of all places. He's actually conceded none in the 3 appearances he's made for them so far. What? I kind of feared Marek Rodak for the second half of the season will be a solid enough backup. And then we do have 2 youth prospects who hopefully will develop over time. That might be able to fill in / overtake him in the pecking order by next season. If we haven't got someone over the summer, then we can get someone to play proper backup. I don't really know. But the thing is, we've got through the portion of the season where we'd use a backup goalkeeper because we're out of the FA Cup as well. Liverpool happened. So I might as well sell him. Ironically, James Keane is injured right now. So this is the point in time when I would have liked Colwill to be on my bench. I've also now registered Boothby for this because he has developed into 2.5 minimum. He is quite competent, 6'4", 16 jumper reach. Baseline, quite nice. Technicals do need to improve, but he's a solid enough player now. If we get him some game time, I think he'll be alright. I should say we have gone through a period where we've also not had Makoko and Nketiah, which is surprising when you look at the results. So that's why players like Matt Cox and Droneley have a serious amount of appearances now. You can't see him behind my head, but Droneley's up to 8 starts, 13 subs, and Matt Cox is 1 start, 5 subs. In fact, Droneley is 2 starts and 2 sub appearances, less than Eddie Nketiah right now. And this is Champions League, so I do actually get 12. Just realised I didn't change my formation, which is what I was planning to do. I'm going to go balanced rather than attacking here. Rather not have my fullbacks be quite so roamy. Speaking of roamy, you may notice from the Palmeiras thing, I have put the name fixed in again. Dominic really should have scored there. Alaba, remarkable. Highlight has continued, which confuses me because I kind of feel like that was the chance. But alas, we continue. João Pedro. Well, he's offside, but he did put it away with aplomb, nonetheless. Eder Militao is tired. One of those rare moments where it might be tactical. Nor is he really a right back. He's now booked as well. Attack him. Attack him. Have him be the avenue where we go through. Okay, they've subbed him off now. I dare say, still the person to be attacking. It's interesting they're effectively playing with 4 centre-backs. But Alaba, I suppose, is more left-back in my opinion. He's not that quick anymore. 35. Still playing him. Fuyat. I'm going to go with. Tell heads it down to Young, Shemeni, Rice. Finds Alaba on this left-hand side. Still very potent, of course, just in terms of technical ability. Mudryk, Valverde, Alaba. Yeah, the physicals might have gone slightly, but he's still very, very good at passing. Woo Yong Yong? Woo Yong Jong? Jong, probably. To be fair, I think if we go away with this only 1 goal down, I think we're in it. I may have made a slight mistake. I think I may have made a slight mistake in my starting lineup because Nketiah was returning to fitness, but I think Moukoko was fine now. So on he comes. If Momento's on a 6.3, we'll swap him out as well for good measure. I mean, literally nothing is happening. I don't know what's going on. SMS books, but really I don't think it's the problem. Why is my best player my most tired player? That's irritating. I'm bringing Aouar on for SMS, swapping the midfield over. Kind of don't want to make any more subs. We have actually been the better team, which is the annoying thing. Just because I'll probably likely get asked why I didn't take him off. Milovanovic on, Adams on for 6.3 Phillips and 6.4 Lebego. His worst performance probably in a Leeds shirt. I think he's on 28 goals. It's ridiculous. Just in case you are wondering where he sits right now, it is 28 goals, 24 starts, 6 substitute appearances. So now technically less than a goal per appearance, but more than a goal per start. He's still less than 90 minutes per goal. 22 in 20 in the league is dumb. He also did win European Golden Boy. The first new gen to win it, and of course, our first one to win it as well. So, making waves is young Jose. Also, his attributes are going up across the board. I love him. I love him very much. I think his jumping reach has gone up. And I think his dribbling's gone up, because I don't remember them being in the yellow last time. Spurs are 6th, so it's not a Spurs to kind of write off and completely rotate against, but I will protect my 2 most tired players, which are Pedro and Valeri, both on 92%, but it's kind of one of those cases where I feel like if I play them again, then they might not be at 90% for Real Madrid again. The others, probably okay if I rest them accordingly. Karnasecki, Keane, Ndicka, Milenkovic, Livramento, Phillips, Milinkovic, Savic, Szoboszlai, Nketiah, Moukoko, Lebego. I realised I didn't run through the team sheet last time, but it was that, basically, except for those 2 changes on the left. Nketiah massively unsharp right now. Moukoko could be a problem. He's got less than 18 months on his contract, and he won't sign a new one. He did say he was going to... He did come to me. He did approach me saying he was going to explore his options at the end of his contract, but I talked him out of that. But he still won't sign a new one. The only thing is, he's saying he won't sign a new one due to interest in him from elsewhere. There is interest in him, but nobody's put a bid in. If someone had put a bid in, I'd understand. That's an interesting play. I love it. For James Keane's first ever goal for Leeds United. 3 minutes, under 3 minutes, 1-0 Leeds. This is a baffling exchange. Livramento puts it in. Lebego chests it and then passes it out to Keane, who first time goalkeeper should do better. I think the goalkeeper was confused what was going on. I think it's Onana in goal for them, isn't it? Yeah, Moukoko. Tottenham do have Sheldrup, who at one point was the highest rated player in the Premier League this season. Don't know if he still is. I should say the very tight Premier League table has spread out a little bit. We are 7 points clear as of right now because Liverpool have drawn away at Aston Villa earlier in the day, having missed a penalty. That's a points dropped. So if we were to win this, we will go 7 points clear. There was one stage of the season where everyone, I think, was on 41 points. The top 5 were all on the same number of points. It was either 38 or 41 points, something like that. But since then, we have deviated. Not a very high chance game. 0.44 to 0.2 first half. I dare say the fans are not getting their money's worth. Man United do have 2 games in hand, I now realise, so that could get them up to 60 should they win them both. They're still in it. Whilst it looks like a 2-horse race, they're still in it. There's Chelsea and West Ham are now out of the title race at least, unless both ourselves and Liverpool utterly bottle it. And Man United for that matter. Onana, Ego. Is his name Ego Ogbu? I mean, I love it. Scarlett is... Ndicka. Literally said Ndicka's not the one who typically picks up cards. Of course that happens. 1 or 2 people on the booking as well. 68 minutes on the clock. I feel like we could just make changes in general as well. So, Aouar on for Dominic. I think Tyler Adams for Calvin Phillips just to make sure we don't lose another player. Change right back as well for good measure. I've effectively gone 4-3-2, but I've done it with a defensive midfielder. As I said before, when in a red card situation, 4-3-2 is generally accepted as the best stable formation to be in, as Milovanovic should have made that 2-0 there. I don't know why he took that shot with the least amount of force possible. Milenkovic goes close. Ego Ogbu is a real person. Windle. Onana out to Emerson Royale, who himself is booked, but we've not made that one punish. I think he heavy touched it. I don't think he even tried to pass it. That's ridiculous if that counts. We're all a point away at a top 6 team. Not awful, particularly down to 10 men, but I figured he was offside just by virtue of him being like so utterly alone when that came through. I don't think he's off by much, actually. The images are kind of wrong for the lines, and somehow we still run away with 3 points. James Keane's first goal gets the 3 points against Spurs. Not bad for the former Fulham lad. Now, it is interesting that the most likely outcome is in the favour of Leeds United at home, kind of. We are still in the process of expanding that stadium, 18th of May, end of season still. So that reminds me, we did add Sochaux to our list of affiliates. So a French team with a pretty solid youth setup. I believe it's actually where Drone Lee came from. It was indeed. Now a 3-star player. He should be coming on a little bit more often. Cresswell was another player with only, less than 18 months left on his contract. Kind of snuck up on me, that one. He never complained about it, though. Squad player, 60k. He's doubled his wages, but squad player is now probably in that ballpark in terms of our wage structure. 4 years. Locks in another homegrown talent until he's 29 at least. Oh, and youth intakes happened. And considering what we're marking against these days, that's a very good intake. We had a very poor one last year. James Caswell, goalkeeper. Another bloody goalkeeper, but okay, English goalkeeper. Already League One standard at 16. Decent reflexes, handling, aerial reach. Jumping reach could be better, but he's 6'3", that will develop quite nicely. 18 determination is good. Driven as a personality is good. Okay, homegrown club goalkeeper would be insane. I'm looking at Neil Brooks as the only other person who's guaranteed 3 stars, and we've just seen what 3 stars looks like under Droneley. I mean, not exactly standing out at this point. 5'9" central defender. Don't think so. 10 crossing already. He's a fullback. We could genuinely have a first team and a backup goalkeeper from this intake for the future. I'm looking through this kind of list of players here and looking at these ones who may be 2.5 stars, maybe 3.5 stars. They're the kind of players that could be squad players going forward, 3 or 4 years' time, provided we're still going at that point. So someone like John Dawes, who is a central midfielder, probably a playmaker, judging by what comes up first. 5'9". Height seems to be a problem on new gens this year. I've noticed everyone's really short, but reasonable determination, determined personality does imply a lack of, or at least neutral professionalism. Could be better. But yeah, that's the issue. Everyone's being sort of marked against João Pedro, actually. He's the 4.5-star player. I see why. So yeah, a 3-star player is this. A perfectly well-rounded, excellent player. Good Premier League level. 80 million worth. You know, this kind of ballpark. So a 3-star potential player in our intake could end up like this. And he's a starter, actually, in this sense. But, you know, our also 3 stars backup. But we can go full first 11 here. And all that means is Valeri and Pedro are back into the starting 11. Everyone else is actually fine to play, thanks to rest. We've got to overturn a 1-goal deficit, but I think we did that last year, if I remember rightly. And at home, we will attack them. Dominic whips that ball in. I'm concerned about the kit choices. I'm also fascinated what this is being called for, considering the fact that it was just corner to head. A clear foul. Handball, apparently. And Ndika's booked for the handball. Didn't see it, but then again, the animation engine is terrible, and I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't looking for that kind of thing to begin with. I've just called the engine terrible there, even though I wasn't actually looking for it. But chances are, it wasn't visible anyway. LeBay goes through, LeBay go over. Normally a little bit more composed than that. Yeah, curious choice to put them in Lilac. Do they not have a black away kit? Or third kit? That's sort of hit Valerie, and he's gathered it. Phillips, forward to Dominic. Out to Livramento. Dominic Szoboszlai through to Makoko. That's an interesting attempt. Valerie on the rebound. Lebego is offside. Why did Valerie not smash it in first time? Lebego's off. Lebego is 100% off. I'm not celebrating this. Why are you looking to VAR? I could see. What? Have I just been mugged off? Have I been mugged off by the angles there? He's definitely off. I want to see this one with the lines. Makoko's so close to it with an absolute worldie. I have been mugged off by the angles. Valerie was a lot further advanced than he looked. Okay then. 1-1 aggregate. Game on. Concerned by Ndika, actually. I'm going to tell him to ease off, just so he doesn't get sent off in 2 games in a row. We've had a goal chalked off a handball already from a set piece, so I'm not celebrating yet, but it looks like it's counting. Milenkovic rises highest and far post. Courtois in nose man land. I put the S in the wrong place there. No man's land. Nose man land. Nose man land. Wow. You can tell it's getting warmer, can't you? Christ. How that's going to get to Makoko? It hasn't got to Makoko. It has got to Makoko. Okay. Football manager's baffling. And somehow João Pedro kicks out, almost trick shots it into the hands of Courtois there. He couldn't have hit that more directly at him if he tried. Yeah, I was thinking that Teata, or Theat, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce his name, but Teata, I did think he was competent at fullback as well. Not superbly, but I did think he was competent, which does mean their entire back line are centre-backs who can play fullback. Interesting they got Lucas Hernandez on the right, even though he is left-footed as well. And there's a booked and tired Militao again on that side. Excuse me while I focus down the left. I'll just say, as this second half has going through, there will be 1 episode of Leeds next week. I am away in the middle of that next week, so I figured there's a good opportunity just to only do 1 Football Manager episode next week to get this series back on sort of even numbers. Right now, we're kind of off kilter in terms of the uploads per season. We're kind of doing 2 and 3 and then 4 and 1. So my awayness next week will allow me to effectively get us back onto 1 and 2, 3 and 4, etc., so forth, going forward. I don't want to reduce the schedules, but it's rather than overworking myself to get the regular uploads for next week, I'll make the concession, save my mental health, save my etc., get it onto a nice even number. 2-1, unfortunately. They've just got one back. Militao, still booked. My entire back line is almost booked. That's great. SMS has got the ball there. I kind of stopped paying attention to the live footage to look at the booking situation. I thought they were going to have a chance, but it was us that got the ball and us that ran away. Valeri's on an 8, but he is now tired and booked. I kind of don't want to bring Gottschling on because he's on a booking warning as well. Mokoko's tired, so let's bring Rooney on. SMS is booked now too. Let's bring Droneley on the understanding that he is solid. No, okay. Let's bring Awar on then. Whatever. And then it'll be 2 of Phillips, Pedro and Dominic. Gray on, Eddie and Ketter on. I also have recently realised that Gray is actually a marginally better attacking playmaker as well, but he's fully competent in box-to-box, so it's 2-2, so I encourage after this corner, which may or may not go in. So close. Now I encourage. They still got Militao on the field. No, they put 1/4 out there, so we'll stop doing that for now. I think if we get injury time, then Livramento does come off. Okay, extra time, despite the fact there's an XG of 3 to an XG of half. Football Manager, stop being so annoying. Gosling's going to come on. I'm going to have to risk him, unfortunately. Keane and Ketia, swamped. Still has the ball, doesn't have the ball anymore. The RB, Keane gets the ball off him, but then gives it straight back again, because why would you bother trying to hold on to possession? Mudryk runs straight into our player, who doesn't try to tackle him. Hernandez, hounded by Goslin briefly, but then runs away again. And Dicker heads it back safely to Karnasecki, who passes it to Keane first time. Had more time there, mate. But we've still got possession. Milenkovic, heavy first touch. Concerned where he's going. Rooney, that's Lebego. Not quite sure why we saw that chance. Does make me concerned. 3.6 is our XG now. 3.6. Eddie Nketiah across the box. Phillips, Lebego. How have you missed from there? I think Valverde got in the way. Awar. Bear in mind whether we had the XG in the away leg as well. Not by much, but we did have it. It was like 1.4 to 0.8. Right now, over the 2 legs, the XG has been 5 to 1.5, and yet it's 2-2 on aggregate. And going to nope, sorry, we've gone up to 4.83 now. So it's 6 to 1.5. 6 XG to 1.5, and it's 2-2. By God, our penalty takers are awful. Thankfully, our best 5 are all positive, so it doesn't really give me much concern. I am going to put the most confident one first, composure-wise. I'm going to skip Calvin Phillips for 4 and do that. I love the fact that in penalty shootouts you can give them faith. Right, the lottery begins. Awar goes the right way. Why has it come down to this? Why has it come down to this? We've had 4 times their XG. 4. Mudryk misses the first one. Karnasecki actually saved a penalty in the game literally before this episode. Or maybe it was in the run-up anyway. Lebego buries his. So I think he's actually saved 2 penalties this year, Karnasecki. Although at the very least there was another one that just didn't go in. Rice smashes it. Good lord. Put him on England penalties. Bloody hell. Rooney Bargy steps up. Rooney Bargy. That was closer than I would have liked. Courtois didn't cover himself in glory on that one. It wasn't like it was far corner. It was savable, that one. Diaby, with a baffling run, puts his in. It always did that thing that I used to do whenever we did sports. Sort of make it look like you're 1 foot, but then you're on the other one. And Ketia, calm, nice, 4-2. Did it with bat sports, actually. I did the thing where I sort of walk up with the bat in my right hand and then switch it to the left just as they throw it and smash it with my left instead. I was surprisingly good at that kind of sport. Valverde, 4-3 still. Valverde. Tenerife hero Valverde, still being annoying, still very good. Valverde was the Dominic Szoboszlai of the Tenerife save. The player who kind of went for surprisingly little money. And Phillips thankfully buries that. I thought he'd missed it, but we scored 5 penalties against Thibaut Courtois. Both goalkeepers run out with a positive 7+ rating, but yeah, they had 2 shots on target and scored 1. Can't just come out with a 7. Okay. We deserve to win, at least. 8 million. Our finance is looking quite good. Our transfer budget is 135 million, by the way. It's more than it started at. Yeah, don't really just have a need to buy anyone at this point. Lack of ability to buy under 21-year-old foreign players is problematic for that, because that's kind of the only person I would spend money on at this point in time that is interested in joining us. Because everyone who else is interested in joining us is typically people on 150 grand already a week, and I'm not paying that. But of course, just like last time, I will bring you back at the end of the season. If that includes Premier League title winning potential, I'll bring you for that. We are 7 points clear. There's a chance we may sort of tie this up well clear of the end of the season. If that's the case, we're not going to kind of fanfare it because we've already won the Premier League in this save, technically. Also, shout out to Man City being 9th, but Haaland still having 27 goals. Lebego's second, though. Not bad for a person we brought in to be second choice. Estoril unfortunately have slipped to third and comfortably third, unfortunately. Still, shout out to them for upsetting this, what was effectively a big four, Porto, Benfica, Sporting Braga. But yes, if the Premier League's coming down to the wire, we'll bring you the Premier League. There's no FA Cup, so chances are we'll just do the last game of the season anyway, as just sort of a one to talk through, and then we'll bring Champions League final if we're in it. If we're not in the Champions League final, I might just do the last 2 games as something to talk through. It's an awkward season on that front. As you say, the 4-0 loss to Liverpool was deserved. It wasn't really a 4-0 loss, it was kind of a 3-1, but they were deserved winners. Calvert-Lewin's gone there now, by the way. I'm sure that went down well, Everton fans. He's just playing bingo with the big teams. But anyway, I'll see you next time, no matter what it includes for the wrap-up of Season 2 here, or Season 6 as it is, technically. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe. Until next time.